Hello, this is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald, here working in partnership once again with our friends at the HD-Based Alliance at InfoComm 2024, talking about topical industry issues of the day with recognized thought leaders here at the show. That's why we invited Keith Kennedy from Pro IT AV, Gabi Shriki from Valens, and of course, Josh Warkop from Diversified. Thank you one and all for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
So let's get right into it. There's been a lot of conversation here at the show about USB-C. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on some of the technical advantages of USB-C over more traditional interfaces. Would you like to start with that?
Sure. Well, that's pretty easy. For one reason, it's one cable. Okay, over that one cable, we can do data, audio, video. We can supply the device with Ethernet. We can supply power to the device and charge it. So that one cable and the connector, the way that it's been designed, is if the cable is designed correctly, you can plug it in either way. It doesn't matter. There's even locking options. We have a new switcher in our booth that we're showing to our OEM, ODM customers where you can lock the USB-C connector into it. So it's just a fabulous one way to connect up a device and give somebody everything that they need to connect, engage, and present.
Absolutely. It also ties very well into the single cable philosophy that we have at HD-Based, aggregating on the same cable multiple interfaces, HDMI, USB, I2S audio, and control signals, as well as the power, of course. So definitely a very useful interface for us in the AV market.
And especially from the support side, as we streamline the connectivity and get it down to a single type connection, on the support and manageability of the situation, it's a lot easier, right? I'm not having to manage multiple connections, multiple cables, don't get too chaotic in the room or these situations. So it's very, very helpful on the support side.
So I think we've all talked about, streamlined connectivity, things of that nature. If you want to talk about any other, drivers of widespread adoption, I'm certainly interested in hearing about them. But I'd also like to hear about some challenges to be overcome when it comes to integrating, essentially this technology into a pro-grade environment. Is it a consumer technology in a pro-grade environment? What are the challenges of that?
Well, there's quite a few challenges. One of which was mentioned was the standard of the cable or the design of the cable itself, right? We've gone through many, many iterations. It's a maturing product as well. It's going to continue to evolve. So we need to make sure we're in lockstep with how the product evolves and keep moving it forward. Cable standards, interface standards. And you mentioned a driver, right? Mm-hmm. From a global perspective, one of the drivers has been the EU, right? As they kind of push towards this standard of we need a more global situation. And now I have USB-C on my iPhone, right? That is a driver, right? As they push the consumer devices, and we have that now in the pro-grade market. So it's definitely something that's crossing over between consumer and pro-grade.
I want to plug you. So probably one of the biggest challenges, and here our sponsor at Valens and HD-Based is distance and getting it from point A to point B, because we'd all love it if we could just plug in a little cable and run it as long as we want, but we can't do that with USB-C technology. So being able to extend that and extend it reliably in a way that is compatible with everything we want to do and support all the other features, we've really been lacking until this little company in Israel that nobody's ever heard of came along with the VS6320 chip, and now we have the ability to design products that utilize that technology and do all kinds of really, really cool things. And we're taking that and we're riffing on it, and we've got like 15 different versions of it and other things that we're doing with it. So I just wanted to plug that and say thank you, Gabi.
You made me speechless. I can go, right? No need anymore. So I would say that definitely the distance is a huge challenge. You are talking about very high data rates running on the cable. So you want to be able to deliver video and USB 3 on that little cable. It has limitation. The physics limits the cable distance. And there we brought in the VS6320 that now you could drive it over a category cable, over 100-meter long cable. That's unique. I think there's another challenge that we need to highlight here for the sake of the audience is the power delivery and the complexity that comes with it. the Type-C is a very sophisticated protocol. The power delivery over Type-C is a very sophisticated protocol that can help us, but also is a thing to watch. So if you are not using the right cable, if you are not using the right product, you may have some interoperability issues. And I'm pretty sure that you, Josh, have seen that a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So buy reliable vendor from a reliable vendor, use reliable cables, and always test before installing.
So let's talk about meeting room experiences a little bit. What we want to do, of course, is enhance experiences in meeting rooms, user experiences. Let's talk about how USB-C peripherals potentially can do that.
From a peripherals perspective, right, it's a bidirectional connection, right? I'm able to bring camera, video, anything else that's in the meeting room experience to my laptop or my iPad or whatever is happening in the meeting room. I have that single cable connectivity to that device. So it's I can bring the peripherals in. I don't need another box or extension to make that happen. Yeah.
That's you, because you know what I'm going to say.
Well, I don't know what you're going to say. You sometimes you surprise me, Gabby. But you know, the having a reliable way to not only extend that host connection, but on the other side have a breadth of device connections as well is wonderful, because now we can bring in a USB-C device that is, let's say, a pointing device, or we can connect up a camera or a drive or a speakerphone or all those kinds of things. And the technology allows us to do it. And as Gabby said, also deliver power to all those devices, because, you know, Lord knows all of these devices need to be powered, and some of them are extremely power hungry and very, very finicky if they're not supplied with the right kind of power and the right amount of power.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I do think that it's important for our industry to follow these Type-C standards, both from the power delivery standpoint as well as the newer things that are coming and able to run on this Type-C connector. So the point is, this is a Type-C connector. There's a lot of things behind, a lot of technology behind it, and you need to understand it properly and not assume that all Type-C can do the same. This is part of the confusing element here. It's not a great marketing, to be honest, but we, as the expert in this industry, needs to help the industry solve that problem. So Key's products are doing a great job aggregating a lot of peripherals through their boxes in order to get at the end one single cable for the user, one single cable of the extension. So that's very useful. In general, I think that it's a good thing for the industry.
Yeah. So Josh, before we went live, you and I were talking a little bit about, obviously, not just USB-C, which is the tip of everyone's tongue these days, but HD-based-T and HDMI and other kinds of connectivity approaches. You want to just talk about the broad landscape we see in meeting rooms, et cetera?
Yeah, it's a very broad landscape, right? Cable connectivity is going to be super important. Power delivery, right? We can't exist or deliver power over Wi-Fi, right? We know that. But we know we have to interoperate at some point with many different types of connectivity. The Wi-Fi Alliance is looking for those compelling events to push different types of standards forward on the Wi-Fi side. Ethernet's looking to push forward with the Ethernet Alliance and how they adopt and push that. HD-based-T's pushing things forward as well. So it's very exciting times, right? We've got all of the different manufacturers and marketing pushing things forward. So, I mean, you have to kind of pick your horse, right? What are you going to run with? What are you going to stick with from a simplicity and support perspective? But everybody's working. There's hundreds of thousands of people all over the world making this a better situation for meeting rooms, for collaboration, for peripheral connectivity. So very exciting times.
I would say that the breadth of technologies, wired, transportation technologies are not going to change. You're going to see HD-based-T, you're going to see HDMI, DisplayPort, and SDVoE, and other AV over IP solutions. So the right thing to do is to choose the technologies that serves your application and your customer best, make the right combinations to make sure that you get the best performance at the best price point. And this is to the benefits of these two gentlemen, and thanks to these two kind of gentlemen, they have that ability to help you design the right system and get the right product.
So one other thing to keep in mind is that the USB-C connector can provide so many different things. And the new technology from Valens is designed to be a USB 3.2 5 gigabit link. What Valens also does is it makes all kinds of other chips that you can use in conjunction with it. We're already designing variants of the new USB extension technology where we're maybe adding on display link technology so that you can now add video to the same connectivity situation. We're also doing some designs where somebody wants to use a dual cable solution, and we're using a dual chip solution within the product. So we're using a VS3000 to do uncompressed 4K video and the 6320 alongside of it with a custom extender that can accept the 2 cable connections to provide all that connectivity at the other end. Mm-hmm. So it's a very flexible ecosystem that they've created where we can bring in all the different chips that they bring in, and even some other ones to start bringing in cameras into a hub and then expanding it over to a display and then connecting everything up via one cable to the laptop.
So I'm going to jump in with a question. Mm-hmm. Do we need to go faster? We're at 4K. We're at uncompressed. We have 3.2 out there. Do we need to go more? What else is going to push it forward?
It's a very good question.
I would say that there's always going to be applications that will need more, right? There's always going to be that use case that will need higher resolution, higher bandwidth. For the main lobe of this industry, the main applications, I think we are in a very good shape for the next 3 years, probably at least good 3 years. So the majority of the volume will not need more, but it's not going to stop. Mm-hmm.
That's the wonderful thing about our industry. It never stops, and that's why we all have jobs. I mean, for 40 years, we've been coming up with, installation or product solutions to solve a problem because something new came out and some new standard, some new technology, some new application that we had to do. So I agree with Gabby that for right now, I think we're good. There's a lot of things happening with faster data rates, obviously. There's a lot of things happening with higher resolution and higher refresh rate and deeper color video. I know we're developing things using HDMI 2.1 and, much greater bandwidth requirements there. But now that we can do, 4K video uncompressed, we can do 5 gigahertz USB 3.2. I mean, that's a lot, and will satisfy pretty much anything I can possibly think of for the next couple of years. Yeah. But we're not going to sit still, and we're always developing new things with new technology.
Maybe one more comment about it is that I think we need to acknowledge the fact that we are also very much at the mercy of the big guys, the Microsoft, the Zoom of the world, and the Google. Whatever they will spec and dictate will also dictate the pace of advancement on the main applications, the higher volume applications. But as you guys said, it's not going to stop. No. New things will come.
Absolutely.
That is a truism, to be sure. Thank you so much, Keith. Thank you so much, Gabi. Thank you so much, Josh, for being here today. Really informative panel. I appreciate your thought leadership and your participation.